All right, we have two items that involve our shared chief. Item E, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement for shared police chief services between the cities of Millbrae and San Bruno. City manager.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Fortunately, the police chief did arrive just in time to support this item. We've been teasing him a little bit lately about what patches he might be wearing on his shirt, but we won't. We didn't check him at the door. We won't ask. The item before you tonight is a formalization of an agreement and your authorization for me to execute that agreement between the city of San Bruno and Millbrae. We were just talking about San Mateo, sorry. This agreement would, similar to the agreement that we have had in place now for 2 years with the city of Millbrae, would arrange for the sharing of police chief services in a manner similar to the agreement we have right now to share fire chief services with the city of Millbrae. As you know, Millbrae's chief, Dennis Haig, serves simultaneously as San Bruno's chief, and this agreement would be envisioned to function in a very similar manner. Chief Neil Telford would continue to serve as the chief of the San Bruno Police Department while simultaneously dividing his time so that he would provide police chief services to the city of Millbrae while they continue to operate a independent and fully separate department. The agreement that's before you addresses a variety of issues that have been the subject of some amount of questions over the past weeks as we have been contemplating formalizing this arrangement. And in particular, it spells out that the chief would spend approximately 20 hours of his weekly work time providing police chief services to the city of Millbrae, again, very similar to the way that Chief Haig currently provides fire chief services. The costs for that arrangement would be shared equally between our two cities, with Millbrae reimbursing the city of San Bruno for 50% of the costs, all of the total wrap-up costs of employing a police chief. And that amount is identified on page 3 of this agreement, although unfortunately it is identified incorrectly, and I would like to pause for just a moment to correct the information that's in the agreement, and we will certainly make that correction in writing before this agreement is executed. Specifically, the estimated amount for fiscal year 2009-10 is $131,713.71. That amount would be the 50% share that would be attributable to and reimbursed by the city of Millbrae to the city of San Bruno. Further in that paragraph, I would recommend that rather than billing the city of Millbrae monthly, that amount be paid in quarterly installments based on billing by us to Millbrae, similar again to the way that is done with the fire chief arrangement. The agreement further specifies, and this is a point that, or a question that I've been asked on a few occasions, and just to clarify for the interests of the City Council, the full employment relationship and responsibility would remain between the chief and the City of San Bruno. In other words, the chief would remain fully an employee of the City of San Bruno, subject to supervision and direction by myself, with the supervision and direction as it relates to City of Millbrae activities coming from the Millbrae City Manager. Any employment-related issues would again remain fully the responsibility of the City of San Bruno. So you have not given up employment rights related to the police chief arrangement. I think there are really no other details that require my calling them out as it relates to the agreement itself. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I would like to just point out that the City of San Bruno and the City of Millbrae have enjoyed a very positive and I would say a successful arrangement and relationship in the joint fire chief situation over the past 2 years. As the council knows, we are also engaged in a sharing relationship with Millbrae related to battalion chiefs in the fire department, which is also a very successful relationship. And by success, I mean not only has it effectively saved in the fire department over $350,000 annually, but the partnership is one that works well on an operational basis. As your city manager, I can tell you that I have not experienced a situation where, by virtue of his joint responsibility for the city of Millbrae and the city of San Bruno, could I identify to you that Chief Hague has performed or that the needs of the city of San Bruno in the fire arena have been neglected by virtue of the fact that he's essentially performing the same role for the two cities. And while the law enforcement arena is a different one, although a public safety operation, it is different than the fire service. Both my colleague, Marcia Raines, the city manager in Millbrae, the interim chief in Millbrae, who is now transitioning away from Millbrae, Chief Telford and myself believe that this has the potential for being a viable relationship, one that is, in my view at least, important and even potentially necessary for our consideration given the fiscal challenges that both of our cities are experiencing. And again, with the good relationship and partnership and success of the relationship in the fire department, we are optimistic that this relationship and this sharing arrangement will serve as a beneficial model for the city of San Bruno. I will allude briefly to the next item on your agenda, which is a study that would evaluate on a longer-term basis whether sharing of a police chief and/or other sharing up to and potentially including full consolidation with the city of Millbrae in the police arena is something, again, that would be mutually beneficial to our two agencies. And so with that in mind and the potential for conducting that analysis and looking on a longer-term basis, what are the opportunities and what is the best opportunity for our two cities, I'm recommending that this agreement would remain in effect for an initial 1-year term, which should give enough time for that complete evaluation to be done and the results presented and considered by yourselves as well as the Millbrae City Council. And the agreement itself, absent any action, would automatically renew for 2 consecutive years. But again, I think that this is an arrangement that both has merit, is an important initiative related to our budget strategies, and is one that requires further evaluation over a fairly short period of time so that we can troubleshoot any issues and evaluate alternatives and opportunities for the longer term. So with that, I would answer any questions and look forward to moving on to the next item.
Any questions of the city manager?
Through the chair.
Michael.
I imagine that Chief Telford probably works far more than 40 hours a week. And, we're talking about a division of, 50-50. And I know every event I go to, the chief is there. And so I know he's putting in a lot of hours. I'm wondering, is there any idea of what the impact is going to be? Because certain things I'm sure that he was doing are not going to be able to get done anymore. And don't get me wrong, I'm very much in favor of doing this. I just want to know some of the details. I mean, are some things going to be delegated to command staff that he normally would have done? Or are we talking about, possibly not having them as available as we've enjoyed in the past?
I would say that all of the above are probably true. The chief will need to be, and he will be called upon probably on a nearly daily basis to make choices as to the best utilization of his time. I'm going to ask Chief Telford actually to start walking this direction so he can add any comments that he might have, being much more close to the day-to-day operations of the police department. But I would say that the city of San Bruno is fortunate to have a very capable staff, command staff within the police department, consisting of 3 commanders. This is the results of a reorganization that Chief Telford proposed when he was first appointed to the police chief position. And while the shared responsibility falls directly on the police chief, I think it is fair to say that the normal responsibilities of the commanders will be more fully utilized as part of this arrangement. And I guess I would ask Chief Telford to add any additional comments he has.
Okay, not because she's my boss, but what she said. As you've experienced tonight, I have 3 quite capable and quite qualified commanders. As second in commands, Commander Mark Catalano is here tonight. So with the use of my command staff, as well as what the city manager mentioned earlier, I mean, some events I may not be able to make it, but if I can't make it, I will certainly designate a second in command to attend.
And that actually is the arrangement we have right now. If the chief, for whatever reason, can't be present, it is very typical that a commander is assigned to cover that event. Honestly, if there is a situation that the chief and I jointly agree that really does not rise to the necessary level of his presence, he may not be there. And similarly, I think that you have probably seen Chief Haig present at most, if not virtually all, of the important city events here in San Bruno. And again, I think that while you may notice some differences, it will be our effort to assure that the city of San Bruno's priorities and critical issues do not suffer.
One last question. Is there going to be any mechanism to share any other costs beyond his salary and benefits should they arise? Training, maybe use of vehicles, things like that, or is that out of the scope of what we're talking about?
That is not a consideration that was previously made with the fire chief and has not been fully factored into the cost considerations that are in front of you tonight. That is something that I would certainly take an additional look at. My estimate is that the cost of the vehicle and the cost of training, which is fairly limited, that this is not a big exposure to the city. Mm-hmm. At the same time, assuming that a similar agreement was in place for the fire chief, I doubt that the city of Millbrae would have any concern about that, and would be happy to take a harder look at those related issues.
Okay.
Through the chair, thank you. I just, the mayor and I, as you may remember, Mayor Franzella appointed us as a subcommittee to review this in addition to fire. We did meet with the chief, as council member Salazar. That was one of the questions we asked to the chief, whether he felt that the service level would continue within this community, and that the command staff was capable and willing to step forward and assume any additional responsibilities that were necessary. He's assured us at the subcommittee level that that would not be a problem. I think as our chief has told us before, if there was a concern on a staffing component, I'm sure if there's a concern as this agreement, if it is approved, goes forward, there is an out clause from either side. I think this is also a step that would assist us greatly in seeing if the next item that we're going to discuss, if it's approved, I think this is a great start to trying to see how things would truly work. And I think this affords us that opportunity, in addition to savings for both cities in these challenging times. And the chief, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, has assured the subcommittee that things will continue and the service level to the citizens of this community will not be affected. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Good. Any more discussion? Action?
If not, I'll go ahead and introduce the resolution.
Vice Mayor Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Ibera.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye. Sorry, aye. That's all there is.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.